Week 2, generally, there are some really odd matchups. We always come out of the gate strong in Northeast Indiana with some good matchups in Week 1. Week 2 is a little bit of a mixed bag, but there's going to be a big one at Dean Gorsuch Field. We're talking about Snider and now Carroll, who looks like they can be an SAC championship contender. What are you looking to see when these two teams go head-to-head on Friday night?
Well, it's tough. I mean, is this a game that's going to decide the SAC? Maybe. We saw Carroll last week get a great win against Lures, and we saw Snider dominate Northside. So you don't want to put a big onus on a Week 2 game, but then again, you look, okay, Homestead loses, Drew Kazai, where are they going to be at? Dwenger will be there. Lures, Carroll already beats Lures, so all of a sudden we look at it and go, man, could this be, really the winner of this game have the edge in the SAC early? And it could be a possibility. I think it's a tremendous matchup on Friday night. I think it's going to be tough. I want to see that Carroll defense. It did a great first test. It passed its first test against Lures, and now it has another big test against the playmakers of Snider.
When you look at Snider's offense, it wasn't all – Matt Kippenhammer catches a 63-yard touchdown pass on the second play from scrimmage.
Why aren't you accounting for Matt Kippenhammer on the second play?
I think the defender fell down.
Okay,
it was a little bit wet out there. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that one because Matt Kippenhammer should not get behind the defense by 20 yards. So I believe that was a slip. But Christian Covington, here's a guy who, to be quite honest, didn't know anything about. Yeah. And the guy comes in, rushes for over 100 yards. He looked good. I saw him scamper right up the gut for 41 and a touchdown. Money Woods goes for over 100. I mean, they just keep reloading, especially on offense. I don't know that they're going to be as big. Malik Bramley was a huge guy out there at the receiver position. David Turner wasn't that big. I don't know that they have the size offensively at the skill positions. Stiebling was 6'5", too. But they're fast, they're quick, and they know how to play.
You mentioned two names, and we can name four of them here that could be four of maybe the top 7 playmakers in the area, where you go Covington, Woods, Hippenhammer, and Michael Ito Jr. And those are 4 of probably the best all-around skill position players in the area, and they're all on the same team, and they're all seeing significant playing time. So a offense that we looked at where they had to replace so much at wide receiver and quarterback, all of a sudden we're looking at, man, can anybody slow this offense down? And maybe we're jumping ahead a little bit, but they look very, very good in Week 1.
We've seen Doug Dinan use 2 quarterbacks before when he had Cody Dinan and Aiden Smith. That worked for about half a season before they decided on a quarterback. Where do you see them going with Ian Miller and Jack Miguel? Because Miller's 5 of 11 for 25 yards passing last week. Jack is 4 of 6 for 68 yards, so his number's just a little bit better. But overall, 9 of 17, 93 yards and 1 touchdown. Sort of efficient as a whole. They obviously relied on Novotny a bunch, over 200 yards rushing, but they're going to get tested with the Snider D even more than last week. Where are they going with QB? What's going to work for Carroll?
I know that Doug Dinan probably doesn't want to have 2 quarterbacks to play in the entire year. We talked to him in the preseason, and he said, I want to have a number 1. Now, whether that he settles on that in Week 2 or Week 7, I don't know. I think, Jack Miguel, I think, has the stronger arm and the better pure athletic ability, but I think Ian Miller maybe has a better grasp of the offense and can run it a little bit better, but I think somebody is going to merge at that position, and whoever's the quarterback Friday is going to have to make some more plays than what they did last Friday to beat that Snider team. I just don't see Novotny being able to run with the power that he did against Lures. That stout defensive front of Snider is really going to limit that. Now, they'll probably be able to run it a little bit. I just don't think they're going to be able to dictate the pace of the game that they were able to against Bishop Lures on the ground.
And talking to Kyle Lindsey preseason, that was his biggest concern, offensive line, defensive line, because they graduated, defensive line specifically. You had Williams graduate. You had Elijah Jett graduate. You had guys that played a ton of snaps, ton of big snaps for an SAC contender. And obviously they had to replace some of those guys. So if you're Bishop Lures, how do you move forward, I guess? This is kind of going off the script, but how do you move forward? What do you learn from the Carroll game?
Well, I just think you adjust. You see what you have to learn. I think, being thrown into a game against a 6A team Week 1, I mean, you learn a lot about your team. So while some of these teams, I think, schedule-wise, won't really find out till Week 4, Week 5, really what they need to work on, Lures just found out in Week 1 really what they need to figure out. You mentioned it, that offense, just some tweaks and settle in, new quarterback, learn when to run, when not to run, when to get rid of the ball, just stuff like that. I mean, the little things, and don't turn the ball over. I think they have a great chance of winning that football game last Friday if they don't turn it over, and then all of a sudden we're sitting here at what Carroll has to do to get better, and then how Lures is. So, cut down the mistakes and just continue to improve.